They buried my husband on a cold Tuesday morning. By Friday, my own son had sold my house. And the worst part? He thought I was too broken to notice. He was wrong. The house was unusually quiet after the funeral, not the peaceful kind of quiet, the kind that presses against your chest and makes breathing feel heavy. I sat alone in the living room, still dressed in black, staring at the spot where my husband's shoes used to be. They were gone. My son said he was organizing things. I didn't argue. Grief makes you tired. It makes you trust people you shouldn't. My husband, Robert, and I had lived in that house for 35 years. 35 years of memories sealed into its walls. We raised our son there, celebrated birthdays, survived arguments, buried dreams. Build new ones. That house wasn't just wood and bricks. It was my life. Robert had been gone only 4 days. I was still waking up, reaching for him in bed, still setting 2 cups on the kitchen counter before realizing I was alone, and my son, my only child, was already talking about the future. You shouldn't live alone anymore, he said gently, sitting across from me. His voice sounded caring, concerned. I can help you move somewhere smaller, somewhere easier. I nodded. Because I was tired. Because I trusted him, because he was my son. He brought papers. Lots of papers. Legal words, small print, just signatures, he said. Power of attorney stuff. So I can handle things while you grieve. I looked at the papers but didn't really see them. My hands were shaking. I signed. 3 days later, a stranger knocked on my door. A man in a suit, polite smile, clipboard in hand. I'm here about the property, he said. My heart skipped. What property? I asked. This house, he replied. The world tilted. I laughed nervously. There must be a mistake. He looked confused. The sale was finalized yesterday. Sale, that word didn't make sense. Hadn't sold anything. I called my son. No answer. I called again, straight to voicemail. When he finally came that evening, he didn't even look surprised. Instead, he looked relieved. Mom, calm down, he said. It's for the best. For the best? My voice cracked. You sold my house. Our house, he corrected. That was the moment something inside me broke. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Quietly. It. I needed the money, he continued. You weren't thinking clearly after Dad died. I had to step in. I stared at him. This was the boy I carried inside me. The boy I protected. The boy my husband worked overtime for, and now he stood there, explaining my betrayal like a business decision. Where am I supposed to go? I asked. He sighed, irritated. I'll figure something out. I realized then I wasn't part of his plans. I was a problem he needed to manage. That night, I didn't cry, not because I wasn't hurt, but because something else took over. Clarity. My son believed grief had made me weak. That age had made me foolish. That love had made me blind. He believed I was finished. What he didn't know was that my husband had prepared me for this world better than anyone ever realized. And what he also didn't know was that I was done being quiet. That night, after my son left, I didn't sleep, not because of grief, because my mind wouldn't stop replaying one sentence. Asterisk. You weren't thinking clearly. He said it like a fact, like a diagnosis. Asterisk. As if losing my husband had erased my intelligence. I sat at the dining table until dawn, surrounded by silence and memories. Asterisk, then I remembered the papers, the ones I had signed without reading. Asterisk. They were still in the drawer where my son had placed them, neatly stacked. Too neat. Asterisk. I pulled them out with shaking hands. Asterisk. Page after page of legal language, words designed to confuse people like me, or so my son thought. I wasn't always just a housewife. Asterisk. Before marriage, before motherhood, before life softened me, I worked in an office where details mattered, contracts mattered, and one thing I had learned long ago, greater than people hide the truth in footnotes. So I read slowly, asterisk, line by line, word by word, and then I saw it. On the first page, not the second, on page 7. Limited power of attorney, limited, not full, not permanent. Asterisk. My breath caught. Asterisk. The document allowed my son to manage property, not sell it, not transfer ownership. Asterisk. Not finalize a sale without my written approval. My hands stopped shaking. Asterisk. Because suddenly, this wasn't over. He had gone beyond what I signed, which meant only one thing. Asterisk. What he did was illegal. I leaned back in my chair and laughed. A short, bitter laugh. Asterisk. All this time, he believed he was smarter, that I was old, confused, defeated. But my husband had raised me to read everything twice. Robert had always said, never assume the person who loves you won't hurt you, especially when money is involved. Asterisk. At the time, I thought he was just being cautious. Now I understood. Asterisk. By morning, I had a plan. Not revenge, not yet. Asterisk. First, information. I called a lawyer, not a flashy one, quiet woman with a reputation for precision. Asterisk. When I explained everything, she listened carefully, didn't interrupt, didn't pity me. When I finished, she leaned back and said calmly, asterisk, you didn't authorize this sale. My heart pounded. So? I whispered. So, she continued, your son abused his authority. For the first time since my husband died, I felt something close to strength. But, the lawyer added, holding up a finger, we need to be careful, asterisk. Why? I asked asterisk, because if you confront him too soon, he'll cover his tracks. I nodded. That made sense. My son was careless, but not stupid. I went home and acted normal. I cooked. I smiled. I said thank you. I pretended. I was still broken. When my son checked in on me, I played my role perfectly. Asterisk. I don't know what I'll do without you, I said softly. He smiled, satisfied. That smile hurt more than the betrayal, because it told me everything. Asterisk. He thought I was dependent. Asterisk. He thought I was finished. Asterisk. He thought the house was already gone. What he didn't know was that the sale could be challenged, frozen, reversed. Asterisk. But I didn't want just my house back. Asterisk. I wanted him to understand something. First, something he had forgotten. Asterisk. I wasn't just his mother. Asterisk. I was a woman who had survived decades, loss, sacrifice, silence. Asterisk. And now, I had nothing left to lose. Asterisk. That night, I stood in the empty living room and whispered, asterisk, you underestimated me. Asterisk. For the next few days, I became exactly who my son believed I was. Weak, lost, grateful, asterisk. I stopped asking questions. I stopped mentioning the house. When he spoke, I listened like a child waiting for instructions. Don't worry, Mom, he said one afternoon while scrolling on his phone. Asterisk. I'll handle everything. I nodded. Of course. I replied softly. Asterisk. You always do. That sentence lit something dangerous in his eyes. Pride. People like my son don't crave money as much as they crave control. Asterisk. And I was handing him both. I let him pay for groceries. Asterisk. Let him manage my bank account. Asterisk. Let him explain simple things to me like I was hearing them for the first time. Inside, I was counting every word. Asterisk. One evening, he brought papers again. Asterisk. Not the same ones, new ones. Asterisk. Just routine, he said. Casually. Asterisk. Just to make things easier for you. Easier. That word again. I didn't refuse. Asterisk. I didn't argue. I didn't even read them. I just smiled and said, asterisk, if you think it's best. That was the moment he crossed the line. Because this time, he forged my signature. Asterisk. I knew because he signed where I usually initial. Asterisk. He forgot that small detail. Asterisk. The one only someone who truly knew me would remember. I felt sick, not because of the crime, but because this was my child, the boy I raised, the boy whose scraped knees I kissed, and now he was stealing from me, without hesitation. Asterisk. That night, I cried, not loudly, quietly, like grief mixed with clarity. Asterisk. The next morning, I visited the lawyer again. She examined the new documents carefully, then looked up at me. Asterisk. He's panicking, she said. Asterisk. What makes you say that? I asked. Asterisk. Because he's trying to rush full control. She paused. Asterisk. And that works in your favor. We set a trap, not illegal, not dramatic. Asterisk. Just patient. I called my son later that day. Asterisk. I'm worried, I told him, letting my voice shake. Asterisk. About what? He asked quickly. The house, I said. What if something goes wrong? What if the buyer changes their mind? He laughed, a short, confident laugh. Mom, it's done. There's nothing you can do. There it was, the confession. Asterisk. My heart pounded. But I stayed calm. Oh, I said. That's a relief. 2 days later, he invited me to dinner. Asterisk. At his place. New furniture. New TV. Asterisk. New confidence. Bought with money he thought was his. He poured wine for himself. Just water for me. As if I couldn't be trusted with anything stronger. During dinner he finally said it. Asterisk. Mom, you should think about moving into a smaller place. I looked up slowly. Why? Asterisk. This house is too big for you. Too many memories. I swallowed. Asterisk. Where would I go? He smiled. I'll help you find something. Help. Another lie dressed as kindness. That night, when I returned home, I walked through every room, touched the walls, the door frames, asterisk, the floor where my husband used to stand every morning, coffee in hand. This house wasn't just property, asterisk, it was proof of my life, and my son had tried to erase it. I sat down and wrote one sentence in my notebook. Asterisk. Let him believe he's Won. Because the moment people think they've won, they stop being careful. Asterisk, and my son was about to make a mistake so big, there would be no coming back from it. The meeting was scheduled for 10 a.m. I arrived at 9:40. Asterisk early like I always had my whole life. My son walked in at 10:12. Confident. Relaxed. Asterisk smiling. Like a man who believed the world was already his. He hugged me quickly. Barely touching. Asterisk. You okay, Ma? He asked, already looking at his phone. Asterisk, yes. I replied softly. Asterisk, just nervous. Asterisk, he patted my hand. Asterisk, there's nothing to worry about. That was the moment I knew. Asterisk, he truly believed I was finished. The conference room smelled like polished wood and expensive cologne. 3 people sat at the table. My lawyer, a real estate representative, and a man I had never seen before. My son froze for half a second. Just half. But I saw it. Who's this? He asked casually. Asterisk, the man stood up and extended his hand. Asterisk, I'm the buyer's legal counsel. My son smiled wider. Asterisk, great. Let's get this done. I kept my eyes down. Asterisk played my part. The real estate agent slid documents across the table. Asterisk, these are the final confirmations, she said. Asterisk, my son reached for the pen. Immediately. Then my lawyer spoke. Asterisk, before we proceed, she said calmly. Asterisk, we need to address a discrepancy. The room went quiet. My son looked irritated. What discrepancy? My lawyer turned one document toward him. Asterisk. This signature, she said, tapping the page. Asterisk, is not legally valid. My son laughed. Asterisk, what do you mean? That's my mother's signature. My lawyer didn't raise her voice. Asterisk, actually, she said. Asterisk, it isn't. I looked up. Slowly. Asterisk. This document was signed without her presence. My lawyer continued. Asterisk, and without her consent. My son turned to me sharply. Asterisk, Mom? I swallowed. Let my voice tremble. I don't remember signing that. His face changed. Not fear, anger. What are you saying? He snapped. I looked down again. I'm just confused. The buyer's lawyer leaned forward. Asterisk, so to be clear, he said. Asterisk, the sale cannot proceed. My son stood up. Asterisk, this is ridiculous. She agreed to everything. My lawyer slid another document forward. Asterisk, this, she said. Asterisk, is a handwriting analysis report. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. My son's hands shook. Just slightly. Asterisk. It shows. It shows. My lawyer continued. Asterisk, that the signature was forged. He slammed his palm on the table. Asterisk, you're lying. The buyer's lawyer stood. Asterisk, we'll be withdrawing. Immediately. Just like that. Asterisk, the deal died. My son turned to me. Asterisk, his eyes weren't loving. They weren't even angry. They were calculating. You planned this, he said slowly. Asterisk, I looked at him, really looked, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't pretend. Asterisk, I trusted you. I said. My voice didn't shake anymore. Asterisk, the room went quiet. Again. But this silence was different. This one was heavy with truth. My lawyer gathered her papers. There's more, she said. She turned to my son, because of the forged documents, she continued. We'll be filing a report. His face drained of color. A report? He whispered. Yes, she replied. For fraud. I stood up. Slowly, strong. I didn't want this. I said quietly. But you left me no choice. He stared at me like I was a stranger. Outside the building. He grabbed my arm. Hard. You're ruining everything. He hissed. I pulled my arm away. No, I said calmly. You did. That night, for the first time since my husband died, I slept without fear, because the truth was finally out, and my son was running out of lies. But what he didn't know yet was that this was only the beginning. The call started the very next morning. 1 missed call, then 2, then 7, all from my son. I didn't answer, not because I couldn't, but because for the first time in my life, I didn't have to. 下11:46 a.m. He showed up at my door, unannounced. I watched him through the curtain. He wasn't calm anymore. His shoulders were tense, his jaw tight. His confidence gone. I opened the door slowly. Yes? I asked, like he was a stranger. Mom, he said quickly, forcing a smile. We need to talk. I stepped aside. He walked in like he owned the place. Old habit. He sat down without asking. Another old habit. This whole thing yesterday, he began. Got out of hand. I poured tea. Carefully, silently. You embarrassed me, he continued. In front of professionals. I placed the cup in front of him. You forged my signature. Replied. He froze. Just for a moment. Sighed. I was trying to protect you. He said. You don't understand these things. Guy sat across from him. Protect me from what? I asked. He rubbed his forehead. From stress. From paperwork. From mistakes. I leaned forward. Or from knowing the truth. His eyes snapped up. You're overreacting, he said. Sharply. Dad would have wanted this. That sentence. That one sentence. I stood up so fast. The chair scraped the floor. Do not use your father against me, I said. His face hardened. You think you're suddenly smart now? He sneered. Who put these ideas in your head? That liar? I smiled. Calm, cold. No, I said. Grief cleared my vision. That's when he panicked. His voice softened instantly. Mom. Please, you don't know what you're doing. I tilted my head. Oh. I do. He stood up and paced. They'll investigate, he muttered. They'll ask questions. Yes. I said. They will. He stopped pacing. Are you trying to ruin my life? He asked. I looked at him. Really looked. And for the first time, I saw fear. No, I said quietly. I'm trying to save mine. He laughed nervously. You won't win, he said. I have friends. I have connections. I nodded. Asterisk, and I have the truth. That afternoon, my lawyer called. Your son's accounts are being reviewed, she said. Asterisk, transfers, property attempts, everything. I closed my eyes, not in relief, in clarity. That evening, my son sent a message. Greater than Mom, we're family. Let's not take this further. I didn't reply. At 2:17 a.m., another message came. Greater than please. I made a mistake. Still no reply. By morning, the tone changed. Greater than, if you do this, don't expect me to forgive you. I smiled sadly. Forgiveness? He never asked for it when he took my house. Asterisk 3 days later. He came back. Different this time. Asterisk no. Arrogance, no shouting, just desperation. He stood at the door and said something I never expected. I need you, he whispered. Stepped aside. Asterisk, but this time, I didn't move out of his way. Asterisk. I said, he did, like a child. I'm listening. I said. Asterisk, but I'm not forgetting. His hands shook. Asterisk, and in that moment, I knew the power had shifted. Asterisk, but what he still didn't know was that the final lesson hadn't been taught yet, because the truth wasn't just about the house. It was about who he really was. It started with a letter, a plain envelope, slipped under my door while I was sleeping. Asterisk, no return address, no name, just my handwriting on top of the words. Asterisk greater than, read carefully. Your son is not what he seems. I froze, my mind raced. Had he left it for me? Was it from someone else? Or was it the universe finally showing me the truth? I opened it slowly. Asterisk, inside were papers, bank statements and receipts, all belonging to my son. Asterisk, debt, loans, late payments, asterisk money transfers I had never known about. He had been spending recklessly, asterisk borrowing from dangerous people, asterisk hiding everything under the guise of investments. My stomach churned. He had not only sold my house, he had gambled with our family's life, and worse, he had lied to me constantly. Asterisk when I confronted him that evening, he tried to deny it. Mom, it's not what it looks like, he said. Just forget those papers. They're old. I stared at him. Asterisk the boy I raised, the boy I trusted. Asterisk was now standing in front of me, shaking, exposed, and utterly vulnerable. You've been reckless, I said quietly. Asterisk, you've been lying. And now you've dragged my house, my life, and my name into this mess. He laughed nervously, trying to mask fear. Asterisk, I thought you wouldn't understand. You're old. You've lost your husband. I had to take control. That was the moment I realized he had never respected me, never truly seen me as a person. Asterisk, only as a mother to manipulate. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I simply stood. And the weight of decades of patience and intelligence settled into my chest like fire. Control? I whispered. Asterisk, you think you can control me, my life, or even my property? He swallowed hard. Yes. He muttered. Asterisk, I thought I could. I reached into my drawer and pulled out the documents I had shared with my lawyer, 点醒 every single fraudulent signature, every transfer he had attempted, every lie he had told. See this? I said calmly. Asterisk, they're all being investigated. every account, every document, and I will make sure everything you did is reversed. His face went pale. Asterisk, you wouldn't. He stammerd. You're my mother. I let my eyes lock with his. Yes, I am your mother. And that is why I will not let you destroy yourself or me. That night, I didn't just reclaim my power. Asterisk, I reclaimed my dignity. Asterisk, the realization sank in. I was stronger than he ever imagined. Asterisk, but the most powerful moment. He didn't see it coming, because I wasn't done, had been patient. I had let him expose himself, and now, the true lesson of consequences was about to begin. He left that night trembling, confused and unsure. Asterisk, for the first time. He felt what it was like to be powerless. And I smiled quietly to myself. Asterisk, patience, observation, preparation. Asterisk, these are the tools of someone who has survived loss, betrayal, and heartbreak. The house was safe, but the game wasn't over. The next steps would teach him respect in a way he could never forget. Asterisk. Asterisk. The morning after the revelation, my son didn't call, he didn't knock, he didn't even text. Asterisk, for the first time in his life. He paused. I walked into the living room, calmly as if nothing had changed. Asterisk, inside. Everything had changed. The phone rang at 10 a.m. Asterisk, it was the lawyer. Asterisk. All his accounts are frozen. She said. Asterisk, the bank flagged unusual activity. The house sale is reversed, and the property is officially back in your name. I let out a quiet sigh. Asterisk, not relief, not triumph, just clarity. When my son arrived that evening, he was pale. His usual arrogance gone. Asterisk, his confidence shattered. He tried to explain. Asterisk, I was only trying to help. I stopped him with a raised hand. No, you were trying to control. Asterisk, you thought I was too weak to notice. Asterisk, too broken to stop you. He looked down. Shame, fear, regret. Asterisk, I didn't mean to hurt you, he whispered. Asterisk, but I thought I was doing the right thing. I sat across from him, calm, silent, greater than the calm before the storm. Do you understand now? I asked softly. Asterisk, do you see what happens when you betray trust? Tears welled in his eyes. I didn't rush him. Let him feel the weight of his actions. He had never been made to face himself. Asterisk, never. Realized that every choice has consequences. I'm sorry, he murmured. Asterisk, Mom, I'm sorry for everything. I nodded once. Greater than that was enough. Not forgiveness yet. Just acknowledgement. Asterisk, that night, I sat alone in the living room. The house was quiet. The air smelled faintly of coffee and old memories. I thought about my husband, about everything we had built together, about the trust I had in my son, and how quickly it had been broken. And I realized revenge wasn't about hurting him. It wasn't about anger. It was about teaching him respect. Asterisk, by the end of the week, he was different. Humble where he had been arrogant, thoughtful. Where he had been reckless. Asterisk, silent. Where he had been loud, I didn't gloat. Asterisk, I didn't yell, I simply lived. And he learned. The house was back. Asterisk, the trust shattered but not destroyed. Asterisk, the lesson etched into his memory forever. Some people wait their entire lives for justice. Asterisk, some think they can outsmart those they love. But when you combine patience, observation, and unwavering resolve, even the closest can't escape the consequences of their actions. I poured myself a cup of tea, sat by the window, and whispered into the quiet room. Greater than. Never underestimate mother's heart. The days after the confrontation passed slowly, but deliberately. My son no longer barged into my home. He no longer assumed I was weak. Instead, he came quietly, measured, humbled. I had not shouted. I had not screamed, had not fought. I had waited, observed, planned, and now he felt the weight of every choice he had made. He called me one afternoon. Mom. His voice trembled. I've learned my lesson. I paused before answering. Good, I said softly. Because lessons learned too late are bitter. June, he arrived at the house that evening. He walked in carefully, not like the confident boy who has sold my house, not like the arrogant young man who thought he could manipulate everything. He looked smaller, broken in a way that demanded reflection. I'm sorry for betraying you, he whispered. I didn't realize how wrong I was. I studied him silently. Then I said calmly, apologies are words. Actions are proof. You will rebuild your trust. Slowly, carefully, and only by respecting others, not taking shortcuts. He nodded. Tears filled his eyes, and I let him cry. The house was restored, the property safe, my life intact. But the greatest victory, it wasn't the house. It wasn't even the reversal of the sale. It was the quiet justice, the truth that power, patience, and wisdom can bring. For the first time since my husband died, I felt peace. I realized that betrayal does not have to destroy you. It does not have to crush your spirit. It can instead teach strength, resilience, and the quiet, unstoppable power of truth. I whispered into the silent house, greater than, I am strong. I am wise, and nothing, not even those closest to me, can take that away. My son stayed on the sofa that evening, silent, reflective. He finally understood. The mother he underestimated was not just surviving, she was thriving. And in that quiet victory, I knew, the house, the memories, and my dignity were mine again. The betrayal had ended. The lesson had been taught. And life would continue, but on my terms.